Welcome today to Danny, Jon, and the Axe. Just kidding.
The Axeman.
We're joined today. We're starting a reboot of our traditional hot takes. We haven't done one in a while, and we're ready to do them again. We're starting with a live broadcast this time. Today, I'm joined, of course, by Jon.
Hello.
Hi, Jon. And then a special guest we have on today, who is like a child on Christmas. He's going to be gazing in wonderment, open-mouthed, with the delights that we have for him here today. Today we have Dickie. Dickie, good to see you, buddy.
We're not monitoring anything right now. The excitement's too high.
Nope, not even one thing. So, yeah, welcome to this Hot Takes. What we're going to be reviewing today is a brand new Codex, a Codex the first of its kind, a Codex World Eaters. Guys, how excited are you today about Codex World Eaters?
Well, me, personally, Danny, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm now a professional painter. So I'm pretty excited about Codex World Eaters. I don't know what to base that on because I have no basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Well, that's
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm,
good
I'm,
good
I'm
review.
hot, baby.
Can we hear you now?
Everyone can hear me. Everyone can hear me.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Amazing.
You get the face or the voice, not both.
You can only get one. Only one.
But you got to choose. You got to choose. It's not a contest. So what we're going to be doing today, as far as content goes, is we're going to be reviewing this codex kind of in sections. First, we're going to look at some lore, go over that a little bit, briefly touch on that, which is a new aspect to the hot takes format, and then we're going to be going through some of the rules on with a competitive bent. So we're looking at this through the lens of what's going to be good. What's not, and more importantly, what's new. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited to delve into this today. I'm not really I'm a medium chaos player, not a hard chaos player. Both these gentlemen with me today are real chaos players.
Oh, I'm hard.
Correct chaos players.
I'm
we're both very hard.
Yep.
Sick. Well, let's get started.
Yeah. I got a screen for that. I got.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
All right. So, and just a notice to everyone here today. We did receive a copy of Codex World Eaters in a digital format. We won't be showing you exact pages from that, as we are not allowed to do so. That's a personal codex. So Dickie has been catching up with all the other reviews today and is ready to talk. Although there were some spoilers on this one, unfortunately, a while ago. But that doesn't mean that everything was revealed, and we're super excited to talk about some of the rules that preview today in this codex. So with release, we've got all different kinds of units, some dice, some cards, of course, for the numerous stratagems that this army has, and
just as many dice as there is stratagems. Actually, if you look at the back.
No, there's hold on. There's one more stratagem, right? I think that there's 8 and 8.
There's 8 and 8, yeah.
As Corn would will it.
You need 2 things of dice in order to get all those stratagems covered by dice.
Yeah. You'll never know unless you get the dice.
It's like
guys.
hot dogs and hot dog buns.
Here's a question for the audience: how many dice packs will you need for Angron's attacks? Figure that one out.
How about more than 2?
More than 2 is the answer.
I got paper with a math.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Yeah. John's gonna do some math for us.
Do it.
All right. Cool. So let's get some key lore points. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
No, there we go.
Too far. All right, guys, we're batting 1,000 today. We're really we're just excited. I'm punching keys. Dickie's punching keys. Jon is punching keys. John's trying to do math. That's how excited Jon is today, Jon? About this codex.
Do we have the answer? No. Shit. Okay.
No. Keep going. Buy me 10. Buy me 10.
We'll get back to you later on.
Buy me 10.
So let's talk about the lore a little bit. Some kind of exciting developments. Obviously, Angron's back, so that's kind of a big deal.
Exciting.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about this? The first one that we have here is our Lord Avocado or Lord Invocatus. What's his deal, guys?
I've been trying to make Lord Avocado a thing since like he was released, and I'm starting to see some like moving forward, like other people, other channels are saying Lord Avocado. No. So I'm like, oh man, it's a thing. I love it. So
you did it.
Lord Avocado is super cool. He actually is an old fluff character that they brought into the new game. Thank you, GW. It's awesome. Little known fact: he rides on hate, blood, and skulls. So his mount flies with that kind of is the most metal thing in the whole wide world, right?
Much like Daddy on his way to class on a Monday morning.
True.
Yes. Wow.
True.
He's a lawyer. Okay.
Angry.
He from his lore, he's very tactical. He's unlike normal world eaters. He's a tactician. He's really into the hit and feint kind of thing, which is very odd. Of course, they just said he's mysterious, so GW didn't go too deep into his lore. There is I don't want to speak out of turn here, but there's a heavy implication of Juggernaut units of Zerkers. Which I'm all for round 2 for World Eaters.
Yeah, corn willing.
Yeah, God.
I guess, guys, from what you've seen from kind of the previews today and kind of the previews GW's been doing, this seems like Baby's first World Eater book, where we're leaving a lot of room open for future editions, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
which will be exciting, right? Like, because there's a bunch of units that they can still add here to this.
Yeah, it felt very first wavy. Of a codex, right? Like, not that it's not bad. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that there's a lot of room for growth with this, which is awesome as a World Eaters fan for sure.
Yeah, definitely a limited data sheet book. We're looking at kind of a book with maybe a few more, or a few less than something like Thousand Suns, like right around that same number of data sheets, because they don't have quite the same unit selection that a lot of other armies have, and that's fine. That's just, again, like we said, room to grow.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah. I did want to point out here real quick on the right hand side of the screen here, GW did send Danny and I some of the new kits that are coming out. This is one of the transfer packs in those new kits. Absolutely stunning. Like the choices are great. It's a fantastic gold. I love it to death. I will never apply them because I suck at transfers, but great options if you can.
I think in the bottom, are those tattoos? Like in the very bottom, the black little scribbly lines. That's
Corn cares not from whence the blood flows, including bad tattoo work.
Or just like runes and stuff like that I'm sure that they scrape in their armor to show devotation to Corn.
Yeah, that's super
yes.
So to sum up, the Lord Invocatus, definitely kind of a hit it and quit it kind of a guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess he's a hit it quit it kind of guy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. You're talking about his orderability, because if he's not sold out at this very moment,
I would imagine he's impossible to find right now.
Check out, there's a link in the notes for Frontline Store. Buy your Lord Avocado as soon as possible. We'll go into him later.
I love that.
But right now, just probably buy them.
Yeah, he's going to be a hot tech button item. So what about Gladiator Cadre 331?
Okay.
That's not an 8.
Yeah, you're right. It's not an 8. They're a super cool. There was like a short story, and I believe they're in the Codex now as their own thing. They're actually the original color scheme for World Eaters, so they're the blue and white.
Oh, cool.
But they brought them into kind of current world as their own thing, their own little kind of side Legion warband, if you will. The cool thing about them is they actually wanted to go back to the Imperium. After the Harris, they were like, you know what? Maybe they'll let us back. Guess what, guys? They didn't let them back. So it's really cool. They kind of have a little blurb on them. I thought that was just a really cool kind of blurb thing when it comes to it. And blue and white is my color scheme, so I'm going to put it in there.
Very excited.
Let's not belabor the Angron. Guys, talk to me about some of the art that's in the Codex since you've seen it.
This book is full of so much cool Angron art. It's like they went to a bunch of artists and were like, here's the model. Could you just make him look cool? And it's impossible. You guys, you see my very average contrast slab job. It's impossible to make that model look bad. And in the art, it's no different. Danny?
Just amazing. Some of the ones with him rearing over some of his foes before he's about to decapitate them is just so rad. It's definitely, like you said, it's like they took his his school picture to a bunch of artists, and they're like, "Hey, make my boy look cool." And all
It's
these different
possible
artists
not to.
did their best,
That's awesome.
and they were, and yeah, they did a good job.
And then Karn in this book, background wise, it's like they've taken all of the little cool stories about Karn and just kind of consolidated it into a high school report about Karn. So there's no real updates, there's no real changes.
Like that
just all in one place now.
What does PAF stand for? So
well, Dickie, that's where you temporarily put info until you're supposed to fill it in with extra. But in some cases,
damn it!
I thought it was pissed as fuck. That's what I thought. So
you're too busy having your self-esteem destroyed by the internet, pointing out that you didn't paint the rim of your base to fill that in.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't worry, I added some stuff on that in here as well.
Beautiful, cool. I'm glad to know.
So let's talk about kind of one of the World Eater's new abilities. This is called the Blood Type Points, reusing a classic concept from Khorne Demonkin, wherein the units that are killed add up to a tally. You can spend those points to give your army a really rad effect or multiple rad effects. These are cumulative and last the entire game once invoked.
Ooh,
so just really powerful abilities. Personally, I really like for 3 blood points, getting to get +1 to charge is phenomenally powerful and quick. So yeah, you get 1 point for each unit that's destroyed. You get an extra point if it was a monster character or vehicle, and you further get an extra point if it was a Titanic unit, and that's calculated up at the end of every phase, correct?
Yeah, I believe it. The leak, as well as all the reviews, said you basically purchase at the end of any phase. So I guess you would accumulate them at the end of the phase, and then you can purchase them. So that's super.
It's like little cool. V-Bucks you earn every phase until you go into your World Eater Fortnite store.
Yeah.
To spend more. Danny, looking at this, right? We have some kind of like, we have Spiteful Nullification, which is like 2 blood type points. We have the one you like, the Rageful Invigoration, which is 3. What are some really good early game ones you're going to want to try and get? Is it worth saving up for some of the 5 blood type points?
Oh, yeah, for sure. +1 to hit is always fantastic, especially since rerolls to hit are kind of limited in this book. You really kind of have to build for them. And then, of course, automatic 6s to wound, basically putting a grudge token on everything is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And if you have Angron in your army, you're probably going to want to make sure you have 6 built up at some point so you can bring him down and he becomes a threat yet again. You can
and good news, when he dies, he gives you 2. So you only really need 4. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that he pays for 1/3 of his own cost to come back, which is crazy.
I'm super
it's a lot.
Good job.
Yeah,
that is a lot. Yeah.
I like you can really customize the game plan to who you're playing, right? So you're against a psychic or mortal wound heavy army. Well, great news. 5 up, feel no pain to mortal wounds is there for you. I think rage fueled invigoration, like Danny said, it's probably going to be the go-to. You only do damage in one phase with this army, and you need to get there. So +1 to charge is probably the thing that you want to do. And of course, if you're bringing Angron, you're going to want to res him after he gets shot off the table by a cannon or something, right? So yeah,
absolutely, and and like all of them are good, right?
Yeah.
Wrathful Devotion's so good it's in here twice.
That was nice of me to put that there. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
but I will say, I will defend my point. A 6 up feel no pain may not feel that great, but there's a lot of multi-wound models in this army, and having that 6 up feel no pain is very good to keep those guys alive.
Danny, how do we feel about kind of the cost of these, like blood type points wise? Are there any that you feel are too expensive, that they're too cheap for what they do?
No, actually, I think they're all pretty. And like again, this is my comment without actually having it seen it on the table. I think a lot of World Eater armies are going to have like between 15 and 20 units in them. So there's a lot of opportunities for points, not only from your stuff dying, but also from your opponent's stuff dying. And also keep in mind the extra points that you get for killing monsters, characters, and vehicles, as well as Titanic units, is only calculated at the end of a phase. So if you kill multiple characters or multiple monsters, you're only going to get the 1 one still per phase.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that when you're trying to calculate up how much blood tithe you owed, and what corn is going to pay out to you when you get it.
Yep.
Corn has some real good blood accountants.
I kind of did a bit of an interesting thing. I actually talked to Adam Lane. Let's move this slide. Oh, they can't see it. We'll figure it out. Adam Lane is a real-life math magician.
Okay.
And he was able to help me out.
Magic is not real.
Right. Math magic, though, I think is real, right?
No.
Okay,
False.
sure. So I kind of asked him, I said, can you give me an idea of how much damage an average Berserker unit or an average 8-bound unit can do? So he said, yeah, let's whip that up right away. So he gave me the averages on this, and quite honestly, it's ridiculous. So into a Marine squad is probably the base that most people do when they're doing these things. So a unit of 10 Berserkers has 45 attacks. Hitting on 3s, they would hit 27 times. That means 18 wounds would go through. The Marine squad would save a few of those, not a ton. And 12 wounds would go through that, and causing about, I believe, 12 damage to that. You have eviscerators in Zerker squads without going to... I know we're going to go look at them in a second. But those 2 eviscerators have 10 attacks total. They would hit 7 times. They would do 6 wounds. They're -4 AP, so they're going through. So that damage would also equate to another 12. So they're mollywhopping a squad of Marines pretty effectively. Okay?
Oh yeah.
And this was without any buffs, right? You can add the +1 to hit. You can add the exploding 6s. You can add the 6s to hit automatically wound. So you have the world is your oyster, and there's stratagems for mortal wounds. Blah 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 blah. 8-bound. Oh my God. He basically said, he goes, I don't know why we're doing math. They're just going to kill whatever they touch. And he's right. He's right. So the 8-bound eviscerators, they're doing an unbelievable 26 damage to a unit of 5 poor Marines. And then the lacerators, which is the champion's weapons, 3 go through, and they're 3 damage flat for 9 wounds on that. So
pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal stuff, for sure. And he basically summed it up as the +1 to hit probably isn't your best one. Probably the general one that you're going to want to do all the time is exploding 6s. That's kind of your general one. If you're facing knights or high toughness tanks, probably the 6s to hit auto wound is probably your go-to there for damage. So yeah. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 6s the exploding 6s is generally math-wise exactly the same as +1 to hit.
Yeah.
So it just gives you the chance to potentially score more if you're lucky. Which is good, or if you have full rerolls or something like that.
I can see a world where you're facing a lot of -1 to hit, maybe Harlequins or something like that, where the +1 can maybe counteract that. But I mean, I'm always, for the most part, going to be doing the exploding 6s just because.
Well, yeah, it just depends on how many points you have, right? Because one of them is. Oh no, they're the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, but if you get enough, you can have both, and that's even better.
Yeah.
So do both.
Do both.
So take us through the Legion trait of relentless rage.
So previously, World Eaters just got +1 attack when they charged. Now it's just basically first round of combat. As long as you charged, heroically intervened, or were charged, you get +1 strength and attack. So this is like old school Furious Charge. Really good. It really buffs up a lot of these units because a lot of them start at strength 5. So making these, strength 6 or higher is great. Yeah. Lets you wound a lot of infantry on 3s or vehicles, even on 4s or 3s in some situations. So it's a really, really powerful Legion trait.
Yeah.
Because these guys are not complicated. They're gonna walk forward and they're gonna punch you in the nose over and over again.
They hope. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what about relics? So relics, warlord traits, we're seeing a reduced amount in this book.
A huge reduction in these. We're looking at a mere 3 relics, a mere 3 warlord traits, And we kind of previewed some of the better ones here, I think. We've got the Talisman of Rage. That one's probably the best relic, I think.
Yep.
It just lets you get it lets you pick a World Leaders unit with a 9 and 6 is to hit, automatically wound. Just a really great buff that way you don't have to spend it if you don't want to.
Nice.
On that ability, just a really great. That's probably the best relic, I think. There's also like a weapon, which is the Berserker Glaive, and then there's a Helm of Brazen Ire. But they're all like they just make your guys a little bit tougher, or give you a weapon that is okay.
Yeah.
Berserker Glaive is only okay, I think.
Helm of Brazen
and then
Ire
the Warlord
is
traits.
-1 to the wound roll against you, and like you said, the Berserker Glaive is +2 strength, -3 AP, 2 damage, an unmodified hit roll of 6, 2 additional hits.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're playing the White Dwarf, pretty much they're the exact same as what you're currently playing anyway. So they didn't go crazy with the differences there. So yeah, the 9-inch
And then
buff,
you've got a
though,
Warlord trait.
the 9-inch buff is super awesome. Like most buffs are 6 inches. 9 inches is nice because you're going to be running up the field, so you're going to need that 9 inches. So that's actually a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, usually 9 inches much more preferred over 6, depending on
this guy.
the circumstance. Yeah.
Too much. Too much.
Oh.
Everybody likes a solid 9. So the Warlord trait here, we've got Favorite of Corn, which just gives you an extra Blood Tide point every single turn, which is great. There's also one for half damage, and then 6-inch Heroic Intervention and Fight First. So basically making yourself into a Lord of Executions kind of, which do exist in this book.
As an HQ slot, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So these are good. They're fine. Nothing here that's crazy overpowered. They all pretty much do exactly what they say on the tin. If you want to buy them, cool. If you don't, you really don't have to.
You don't have to.
And that's okay. Like, I don't think it really affects the army horribly.
No.
Yeah. I think the Warlord trait that you're going to be wanting to buy is on a special character. And we'll talk about it in a second. So,
well, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And if you're not taking Angron, you're taking that guy.
Yep.
So strats.
Boop.
Yeah. So 8 strats. This is a new low. Just kidding.
I was going to say,
Danny,
a new
guys, low.
Screenshot this screen. This is every strap.
Yeah, everyone make a funny face, so they have to do our face too.
I think this is awesome. I'm actually hyped. Right? Like I think that 8 strats is good.
Yeah.
Like a reduction in the amount of strats, I think is probably good for the
good
game.
strats.
I have to say, me as a mid-table player, like say playing Space Marines, where I not only have to remember the 17 pages in the Space Marine book, but the 2 pages in the supplement. Looking at this, like especially coming out of something like LVO, Danny, where we just left, where if you're playing 6 rounds, like, hey, remember these 80 stratagems over the course of 18 hours. Like, no.
8 good strats though, guys. Like these are not like fluffy, like if you punch a guy on Sunday after dinner you get this buff. This is like gold stuff here.
They're all pretty much bangers, right? Like every single one of these is good. Red Butchers is insane. I mean,
so good.
So that's +1 to the damage characteristic of 8 bound.
Yeah.
Some of these guys have, like we're talking 5-6 attacks each. They're already 2 damage. Now they're going to 3.
Oh god.
In fact, I think the normal 8 bound are 6 attacks each on the charge.
So that normal 8 bound have 7 attacks because they have 2 eviscerators, and those gives you an.
Oh, are they double eviscerator?
Yeah,
I thought they just had the one.
They're doubles.
Okay. Okay, so then there's 7 attacks.
7
apiece,
attacks
2 damage.
plus like 3 damage. Like, remember when we talked about like this unit's gonna mulch everything it hits? Well, that stratagem's gonna be like maybe you can double attack and mulch everything in base contact with you. So yeah, those are so good, so good. Yeah.
So that's really great. It puts the champions up to damage 4. For both the units, insanely powerful.
So
it actually makes the Terminators sort of interesting because they have normal accursed weapons, just like you would expect. But this just makes them all damage 2 now, which is a lot. That being said, I just don't think the Terminators hold a candle to 8 bound, but we'll talk about 8 bound later. Gory Dismemberment. This one is 6 to wound, cause a mortal wound in addition to normal damage with the amount of attacks this army has.
Core or character. Yep.
Yeah, core character. really, really powerful. Even normal berserkers are rocking like a ton of attacks, so this is good on them. It's a max of 6 though, so it's not like this even has to be nerfed like some of the other ones. So if you split your attacks between different units, it's still going to be. It specifically says that it's limited to 6 from this stratagem, not 6 on a unit.
Yeah, they did it right this time. Yeah.
So, which is great.
16th
that's
times the charm.
Yeah. Skull for the Skull Throne.
This is maybe the fluffiest one on here. I think this is probably the one that has the most fat.
Yeah,
it's really cool, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not amazing. Like it's fine if you want to spend the command points on it. I think it's good, especially if you need the blood tithe.
Yeah, you're trading CP for blood tithe here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is really what it is. But also, like, maybe thinking in my head, maybe Angron gets to kill a character or kill the warlord, and now he has +1 to charge. That's +2 to charge with a blood tithe. So when he inevitably dies from the clapback, being +2 to charge coming out of deep strike, not a bad
That's
deal.
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good
That's
deal.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Scorn of Sorcery is the same. You know what you love at 4+ deny. Blood Frenzy is a fight on death for core. 1 command point if it's berserkers. 2 if it's anything else. So Terminators, regular 8-bound. You've got some choices here.
So good.
I do love the name of this next stratagem, and I love that they feel that they had to point out that it wasn't just an intervention, but it was an aggressive intervention.
Well, it's aggressive.
Well, it's not heroic, John.
It's a 6-inch aggressive intervention. 6 inches, not 3. And Danny just told you that more is better.
That's right.
6 inches is
so It's just basic math.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, look. You don't have to be a rocket scientist here.
Or a mathematician.
And honestly, if you're a World Eaters player, you're probably not a rocket scientist. So,
whoa.
Like,
guys, I almost figured out how much dice you need to buy for Angron. So just buy me a couple more minutes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we're working with you here, John. You've got pop smoke on units with smoke screen. So so that'd be Hellbrutes, Rhinos, Land Raiders, and then Icon of Wrath.
So good.
3d6 charge. Drop the lowest. Amazing.
I am so stoked for 3d6 charge. Yeah. Coming out of a free reserve. 3d6 charge. +2, +1 to charge. Ah! Yeah.
Not bad. Or just on a dude just on a squad hopping out of a rhino in the middle of the table, right? I mean, that's a huge charge distance.
Yeah. They can get more buffs to movement coming out of a rhino as well. There's like a lot of so good things. I'm so
guys.
I'm so ready.
I just wanted to ask right now. We just seem to have a very straightforward army that's very aggressive to play. But is there any kind of weird janky crap in this book that say someone like me would want to use?
Oh, wow, that's my cue.
No. Oh, I was gonna say no.
Like, not really. No, in all honesty, probably still not really.
Yep. Disciples, John. What the heck are Disciples of the Red Angel?
Oh my gosh. Only those imbued with unnatural resilience are able to plunge themselves into the apocalyptic fighting that draws the attention of the Red Angel.
Wow.
Now, this is just a little flavor text
at
the top here. It's Angron's boys. This is Angron's boys.
The Chads.
The Chads. Yeah. The Changrons. You got to have Angron in the army, and he's got to be your warlord.
Sure does.
You can only include Khorne demon units and World Eaters. World Eaters Chaos Land Raider units in your army. And 8-bound units now have OPSEC. That's the jank.
Why do you think the Land Raider got the nod there?
Because you have to choose to not put your 8-bound in Land Raiders.
Oh.
It has to be a conscious choice. You can't have the book tell you not to do it. You have to be like, I'm not taking a Land Raider Games Workshop. This is now 3 editions.
I don't want to buy it, all right? Jeez.
I think it's because they have a demonic machine spirit, so they're like a demon, sort of, almost.
Fair.
Cool.
And yeah, it's good to have transports for your dudes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the cool stuff on here, demonic infusions. You pick 1 for each of your 8-bound units. The first one you count as 2 models for OPSEC, which is great for especially Exalted 8-bound, who are only 3-man units, or even your bigger, chunky 8-bound, who are up to 6 for 12. You also have Mutable Form, which is a wound roll of 6, inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target. And then Brazen Skin, which is a 4 feel no pain to mortal wounds. Danny, what are your thoughts on the different demonic infusions you can give your bros?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably pick the wounds. Do a mortal wound in addition to damage, just because they have so many attacks.
Yeah.
But any of these are good depending on kind of what your opponent you're coming up against. That being said, you have to do this when you muster your army. So I think the
Only
4
one
plus
unit.
feel no pain versus mortal wounds is pretty not good. But the other two are fine. It just depends on which one you want to take.
I wanted to preface. So when you take the disciples, you lose the ability to use the stratagems from the World Eaters. Is that correct? Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So there's no double down in on those 6s to wound do mortal wounds.
Yeah, you can't.
Yikes.
Yeah, you can't double down.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
No, yeah.
Were
Danny, what are your thoughts of the relics you can get?
Oh man, so many. So there's no warlord traits associated with this. So since Angron is your warlord and all the special characters have warlord traits that are integral to their data sheet now, there is no warlord traits associated with this. So you have to take Angron. He's got to be your warlord. So there's no warlord traits for this particular faction, but they do get 3 relics. They are very, very. They are relics in Warhammer 40,000.
They are the burning plate is the first one I noticed here because it's the first on the list,
which is cool.
You add 1 to your saving throw. You add 1 to your wounds characteristic.
Yeah,
so pretty cool.
Yeah. Like on a Demon Prince, that's like okay, cool. All right, we're talking.
We have the Soul Burner, which replaces an Infernal Cannon. And has the following profile. You have range 12, assault 2d6, strength 7, AP -2, damage 1, auto hits the target.
Yeah.
Like a little split flamer. Rage Flamer.
Now, this, John, just as a side note, an Infernal Cannon is a gun that the Demon Prince has. So the Demon Prince now has a gun profile again for that kit. So... and it's integral to his. He just comes with one. It's 3 shots. It's like strength 5 -2, 2 damage. It's like a heavy bolter kind of. So this is definitely an upgrade on top of that. It's not bad actually.
No, a little assault flamer with 12-inch range, pretty rad.
Yeah.
The last one is and I'm going to mispronounce this. The Skull of. Says in your command phase, select 1 enemy unit that is visible to the bearer. Until the start of your next command phase, each time the bearer makes a melee attack against a selected enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll, which is pretty good.
Yeah, just have to see him.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what that combos up really well with is a big fat unit of 8 bound, and the 6s to wound are a mortal wound in addition to normal damage.
So is it only that guy gets the reroll wounds, or is like everything around him gets the reroll wounds?
Oh yeah, sorry, no, it's just the bear. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You got me all excited. I was like, I'm playing disciples here, and then I was like, nah.
These guys have Doom? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but that's so good. Don't even have to cast it. All right.
But
then you have to
Danny,
take Angron.
Yeah, they don't come with their own stratagems. All the stratagems are gone, right?
Nope, they have their own set of strats.
Kaplow!
And
Whoa.
Yeah, and they can't use anybody else's. So, let's take a look at some of these strats. We've got gratuitous bloodletting. Pick a unit that's half strength and engagement range. You get +1 to wound against them. 1 command point. That's great.
How are you going to get them down to half strength, though?
Just going to punch them a bunch.
Gonna punch them in bunches. So the first
so I punch with one guy to get him down to half strength, and the rest, and then different unit fights, and those guys get +1 to wound.
That makes sense.
Don't you see?
Oh, I see.
You got a big brain this.
You gotta really think about this, Dickie.
This is not an Unga Bunga army.
That's right. It's full of tact and nuance. You've never seen an army that's so polite.
You get to interact in 3 whole phases.
All right, so we've got a blood scent. So this one is if you fall back from an 8-bound unit. They obviously have lit some of those corn scented candles and attach them to their armor. You get to immediately consolidate 6 inches. So
inches.
If you're ooh. What happens if you don't move 6? You don't even move 6 inches. Like you can't move further than that. Like most things in the game.
You
Yeah.
just
That's
you
an
go.
infantry
What
no,
if-
you give somebody a big old hug and you're like, no man, me and you, we're staying here.
I got you for
I
3
I
rounds.
got you.
A-Bound famously just bonesaw McGraw from
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's super cool,
so
though. That
good.
means that ignores things like, Desperate Breakout,
Yeah.
the I'm going to run away, I'm not going to run away. It's like, you can run, but I'm just going to move with you.
Yeah,
so that's
it's
a
like
super cool thing
the
to
most annoying Harlequin strat.
do. Yeah,
That big chunky boys have now.
for sure. Now we have my favorite Mountain Dew flavor, Furious Surge.
You're not wrong. They could
I
actually.
think
I think
That's a
these are
different
all-
brand, John.
Yeah.
Wasn't Surge Coke's answer to Mountain Dew?
It was, and it was awful.
It's terrible.
Unlike this book.
Yeah, no, very much unlike this
No,
book. Good
so
point. So we have Furious Surge. This is when an 8-bound unit takes a casualty. They can make a normal move as if it were the movement phase. So this is in
Wow.
your opponent's shooting phase. So when they shoot you, you get to move. Some units just get to do this automatically. When we go over Berserkers, we'll talk about that. But this is a great ability, especially if you can move them like away and hide.
Yeah. So their move is like 9, right? Like
9 inches, sometimes 11.
whoa. And it does
Yeah.
it, and you can move anywhere. It doesn't say closest or anything like that. You can just give her hell.
Mm-hmm.
He looks.
Just a normal move.
Wow. Wow.
Chat coming in, by the way, asking, what does Furious Surge taste like? And I just replied with copper.
Blood. Yeah. Hate, anger.
It's the code red version, actually. Absurd.
Yeah, they just relabeled it.
But Furious Surge, regardless of the amazing name, Danny, I know you're a huge fan of free movement, and even though this is 1 CP, this is insane what you can do, and you can even kind of bait your opponent now to shoot at you to get that free movement there.
Yeah.
Right?
With your 2 OPSEC 8-bound, they're just gonna just slightly jump onto your objective and just go, it's ours now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like maybe even out of line of sight and just be like, okay, well, I'll just get these points next turn. That's fine.
That's so good.
Next,
man.
we have Diabolic Machines, which seems to be a pretty standard one, Danny.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. So it lets you fight on full profile. If you have Titanic at cost 2, that's for the Lord of Skulls. More or less. Maybe or if you're going to run like a Brass Scorpion in this list, which might be a thing, you could use it on that as well.
That's really cool.
Nice. Violent Dismemberment. Not regular dismemberment, but violent dismemberment.
Did you not want to do Epileptic
Yeah,
Frenzy?
did you not
No.
want to do the auto
I want to.
6-inch
I want to absolutely just ignore
That's an
the
auto
one
6
I've
advance.
missed.
So Violent Dismemberment. One
You
command.
ruined my favorite stratagem, John. I'm going to just skip past it now.
Yeah. It's canceled.
Got him. So this is after a unit destroys an enemy unit. They get -2 leadership and subtract 1 from combat attrition.
That's good.
Within 6 inches
Wow.
of the unit. So you get an aura off the unit, which is nice. This again combos up well with 8-bound because 8-bound already have a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership. So now they're -3.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's really good. Huh.
It is
really
neat.
good.
I think this one might be counterproductive. I don't think I like this stratagem actually.
No?
You want
Okay,
you want to
so
punch them?
check this out. You've placed your units perfectly. You've killed a few models out of a bunch of squads. Now they're at minus leadership, but they're still locked in combat. Now what happens? Morale phase. Oh man, I failed. All right, time to pull a guy out of combat. And now I'm failing on 1s, 2s, and 3s, maybe even. So I'm going to lose more guys, but I'm not going to be locked inside and locked with your unit that might get, plus like no fallback on a 4+ or something like that, which is something that happens in this book a lot.
Maybe a strat to pull out when like you needed a unit to die and it just didn't quite die, but it's still very very limited use compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah, I think you just like this is very situational. It's not like terrible or anything. I just think you really have to watch when you use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. Terrifying Assault, 1 CP. Charge phase, the enemy cannot overwatch or set to defend, and -1 to hit rolls. Tell us about this one, Daddy.
Yeah, that's cool. -1 to hit in the fight phase, especially if you're going after someone that can hit you back.
Yeah.
I think is a great one command point strategy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've heard turning off Overwatch is actually a big deal to a combat army. so
It can be pretty handy, especially if you're going up against something like Tau,
Yeah.
that has like some really good Overwatch.
Amazing.
And then blood.
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed the typo in this one. Bloodthirsty.
Bloodthirsty.
Bloodthirsty. Determination.
Come on, Danny. Pull it together.
Ignore any and all modifiers to charge rolls made. So this is like the orc
Ooh.
strat. It's again, charge through terrain. Heck yeah, let's do it. I think it's another one it's situational, but it can be really good.
All of these though, 1 CP. These are all exceptionally cheap, I think, for what they do.
Yeah. Well, I hope
It's not like you're going to be spending it on warlord traits and relics, really. Like so, like you can spend a maximum of 2 command points per game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of jank
Oh,
in,
yeah,
in
no-
this little package here, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And as Danny said, no extra warlord trait strat, no extra relic strat. You're kind of just locked into what you got, right? Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Beautiful. Moving on.
So let's talk about units, guys.
Yeah.
What's like the
who's that guy
biggest,
right
Who
coolest
there?
painted
unit?
that?
Who painted that guy that's
painted
on
that
screen
guy?
right now? Oh,
Good old Mangron.
Yep.
the quality.
Somebody did. He looks great.
Doesn't
He looks amazing. What a great paint job, really.
I will say on that one, it goes to show the quality of the model. My terrible triad of painting of just getting a dark and mid and light and painting that way gets shown, or shows Games Workshop's amazing sense of humor to place my photo before Caleb Wisenbeck, who is a far superior painter.
There may not be a picture of that model anymore, John.
No, that is fair. That is fair. Oh, beautiful. Danny, okay. So tell me about Mangron.
He's good. He's pretty cheap for a Primarch model. Only clocking in 360 is pretty inexpensive for something that has quite so many wounds. He has a lot of attacks. John, do you know how many attacks Mangron gets yet?
I just finished doing the math. There's 15 dice per World Leader cube.
Yeah.
Mangron gets a whole bunch of attacks, so you're going to need lots.
So you just gave up, is what you're saying.
Four
buy
bricks of
4
dice. Four.
because you'll need
Four.
4
Buy
packs
4.
of dice.
Woo.
Just kidding.
That's a lot of packs.
Just three is fine. Angron can have 39 attacks total. I think is where he maxes out.
He's a big boy. As the slide says here, he kills everything but Morty when you forget about demonic saves, per the Warhammer community article from the other day.
Oh.
So he is a huge gentleman, a big Chad. 2+, 4++, which is insane, and can be revived with Blood Tithe, which he generates a third of his value back himself. He has one of 3 glorious buffs. Danny, can you tell us about the buffs that he can provide? The buff is to Primarchs.
He can do a 6-inch aura of +1 attack.
That seems good.
A 6-inch aura of reroll 1s to hit for World Eaters. These are the +1 attack is just for World Eaters core units. The reroll 1s to hit is just a 6-inch aura for World Eater units. This can be anything. It can be a Land Raider. It can be a Brass Scorpion. It can be whatever you want it to be. Or he has a 6-inch aura of no fallback.
Woo.
Amazing, but all those are amazing
Really
auras.
good. And do you have to choose
It's a
that?
requote.
Do you have to choose that at the beginning? Sorry, John. Do you have to choose that at the beginning of the phase or something?
It's
In your command phase.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
But like Danny said earlier with his Bonesaw McGraw reference, he's got you for 3 minutes, buddy.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's Wretched Slaughter right there.
He's got a Chapter Master reroll effect that he can give to a World Eater's core character unit as well.
Okay.
Which is oftentimes himself. Especially if you're doing something like, and he's got 12 attacks on his top profile, 10 on his medium, and 8 in his lowest profile, and he still gets +1 attack and strength, which puts him to strength 10, and then +1 attack to all those. The only other thing that degrades on Ol Angron is his movement. So he just loses movement and attacks. He doesn't degrade anything else. So he's still going to hit roughly the same. I mean, he's going to be -4 attacks, but okay, that's fine. When you're throwing 13 times 3 attacks, he has a sweep profile, and just throw 39 attacks, he doesn't need anything. And he can just fish for 6s too. Yeah. If you've got like some of those blood tide things going, he can do an insane amount of damage.
Yeah. And he can use that strat where 6s to wound or a mortal wound on top of a maximum of 6, right? Yep. So you're throwing 39 attacks. These are strength 9. They're going to be AP -3, so they're no slouch. They're only 1 damage each, but you're throwing so many dice that you're going to do an insane amount of attacks with mortals in there with that strat too. How do you guys feel about 360 points? That seems incredibly cheap.
Feels cheap.
360?
Yeah.
He feels fine. I think that's okay. I mean, he's going to die. Look, he's toughness 7. Yeah, he's got a 2+ armor save, but he doesn't have armor contempt. So he's just going to be saving on 4s if they don't have a way to take away invulnerable saves. I think that you can, and he's got, 18 wounds? Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have, I don't think he doesn't have a lot of durability. Now, can he come back? Hell yeah. Is that awesome? Hell yeah. But I think he's fine. I don't think he's like a must take. In fact, I think taking him potentially harms your army in other ways because he does have to be your warlord if you take him, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about his warlord trait. What warlord trait does he bring to the table?
His warlord trait's very good. It removes OBSEC within good. 6 inches. Yeah, 6 inch aura. 6 inch aura of OBSEC removal, which is great.
That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a bargain at 360. But I don't think that he's the best unit in the book or anything. I think, which is saying something, I guess.
So I guess talk to me about his 2 weapon profiles here, because he has a Seminarius and Spinegrider. With the big hits, you're getting 13 attacks on the charge, I believe. You're going to be strength 14, AP -4, D3 +3. And then his sweep profile, you're getting 3 attacks for everyone, so up to 39 attacks, AP -3, 1 damage each. Is this about what you were expecting him to be attacks-wise, Danny?
Yeah,
I think hitting powers-wise.
Yeah, I think that's about right. He should be absolutely the most offensively disgusting model in the game, I think. Yep. And I think he does that. I think he does that just fine. He can kill multiple units in one turn pretty easily. He's very fast. Movement 16 at top profile.
That's really good.
Is real quick.
Yeah.
Another thing as well, if you're going to take Khorne Demons as part of your World Eaters army, you can take like a patrol detachment of Khorne Demons and have them not count against any of your World Eaters rules. And he is a Warp Locus. So he can also bring in Khorne Demons close to him as well, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. Super cool. Dickie, any thoughts about Mangron?
As a World Eater player, he's the model you have to get. Like, I think that's part of when you sign up to this crew, you need to buy Angron as a model. I think you're right. I don't think he may be the most competitive choice right now, but I can see him being used, especially you just touched on the Locust. Having the ability to run him up, Locust off of him, maybe drop Scarbrand or letters.
Let's go full memes here.
You know what I mean? Like, how awesome is that? That is so good. Hey, you don't want to fall back? Cool. I have a no fallback.
Just
armor.
Angron running up with like immigrant song playing in the background. It's like
yes.
blood letters just appear
just
in front of him.
Like speakers on his back. Yeah. I am so for it. And you know what? It's so World Eaters. He's so World Eaters. When you look at his rules, he's so World Eaters. So he does exactly what you'd want him to do on the tin, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
And touching on that last bullet point is important as well.
What's the deal with that?
Unpainted base rims are really unattractive. You should always try and go back and make sure that you paint your base rims, everyone.
Don't submit to GW without an unpainted base rim.
GW, wonderful enough to send us sample models, sample books. They sent us this Angron. And they were like, hey, if you can get it painted up, send us a picture on a white background by this date. So I'm like, we should really do that. So I was like, Danny, I'm going to do that. So I did it. The week where we were prepping for LVO, I had a math exam. Everything was going on. I'm like, it's done. Great. We'll throw it on out there. It's good to go now. There's no way they're going to pick me because they have like Caleb Westenbach, who makes amazing models. They have all the other 6 ones that are amazing models. And then I wake up to a bunch of messages in the morning like, hey, it looks great, guy. And then I go look at the comments and I'm like, I'm not one to complain, but the lack of rimming ruined it. And I, for one, Danny, do you feel that not rimming really just ruins the experience of the model?
It's like the cherry on top of the cake, John.
It really is.
It's a finishing move. It's a power finisher, actually, is how I would describe that.
And in my constant need to be liked, going through GW's comment section and just being like, I swear to God, I painted the bay rim. I swear, like, it's painted now. Thank you for your insight. But I did like the comments ranged from the one with the paint the rim, it looks garbage, to I wish they sent these to amateur painters. And I'm like, buddy, they did. That's my number one sales pitch for Angron. If I can paint him to the quality that you're seeing on screen right now, literally anybody can. Children, small animals.
Dude, it looks so good. Like, it's such a good job. You did such a great job.
He's a beautiful model. They did a really good job of modeling him. And under all of those armor panels, there's like defined abs. My original plan was I was inspired by Hulk Hogan to just oil up his torso. And just cover him in like Art Code style baby oil, but the armor just covers everything that I spent hours working on. So I didn't do that.
In chat, wait, John painted this?
John, what you're seeing on screen right now, that is my paint job. I painted that.
Yeah.
And it's
so good.
It's an amazing kit. Guys, pro tip, don't do what I did. Don't attach the wings until after they're painted, because they are very close together on the back. That is why that angle was chosen. The backpack is not a great job. And the wings, they're not terrible. But I did break into the bloodletter glaze for this guy. That's a little secret pro tip that you can't do anymore, because it's about $80 a bottle for the little bloodletter glaze.
What?
It's very expensive. I bought 10 of them when they think, because my skin recipe is everything to me. But anyway, moving on. Calm stuff. Karn.
All right.
Old Karn.
So Karn. Karn is cool. Like, what a great model. About a bazillion attacks, as you would expect for any kind of World Eaters model, right?
Or 10.
10 attacks on the charge, strength 7. Because he gets +1 strength. His Gore Child is, of course, strength user, -4, 3 flat damage.
That's so much better than what it was.
God, it is nasty. Like, he will chew up anybody. Yeah, does he do mortal wounds to units that are close to him if he rolls 1s to hit?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be the betrayer if he didn't.
Real better this time, right?
Yeah.
So like right now, it's at the end of the fight phase. If there are any friendly units within 3 inches of this model, one roll d6 on a 1. You select one of those units and it gets 2 mortal wounds.
Oh, man.
So he
it's
does
not that bad.
Compared to before, when you had to really space out using your consolidates to stay the hell away from him when you don't need the buffs. Now it's only 2 mortal wounds, which with blood tithe points you can even negate a little bit with that 5++.
Oh,
He's just gonna get grumpy at a rhino in my army. Just punch that rhino.
yeah, that makes sense.
So much like Mangron, he is 2+, 4++. He has an invulnerable save from a sigil of corruption. He's one of the few models who gives World Eaters core units within 6 inches of him reroll wound rolls of 1.
Yeah.
Not hit rolls, wound rolls, which is super cool.
I was surprised by that, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprising.
Yeah. But when comboed with that stratagem that gives mortal wounds on 6s, it kind of helps a little bit there. You can fish for a little bit more. And then at the end of the fight phase, like we said, he can do a little bit of damage, but it's so much less now. He's so much less of an issue model, or one where you really have to manage your placement. Danny, tell me about his warlord. Oh, sorry. Go.
Right? Like, let's say you have 1 berserker left. You're hoping you roll that 1. so you get another blood type point, right? Like I
Yeah.
would be. I'd be hype about that. I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah. I lose him, I get another blood tide. Now I'll spend 5 and do something cool, or like that's the last one I needed. I think that stuff will come in clutch, probably more than you think it will.
Like end of the game, you have 5 blood type points. You need that 6 for Angron, and you're like, oh, come on, roll a 1, kill the unit, kill the unit.
Yeah.
So it's
Warlord trait,
accountant.
great Warlord trait. Actually, I think for him,
Hmm.
just gloms onto his what he's already good at. If there's 6 enemy models within 3 inches of him, he gets plus D3 attacks.
All right.
Which take them up to a whopping 13 attacks on the charge.
All right.
Heck yes. Yep.
So,
So
Dickie,
he's a guy.
maybe retarget him away from the rhinos and into 6-man squads.
Perfect.
You can do some heavy damage for sure.
He could chop a rhino in half, though, right, Dickie? Like,
Yeah, obviously. Look at him. Look
Yeah.
at that arm. Yeah.
So yeah, he's 140 points, guys. We felt it's a good value for a character like Karn.
it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think you're going to notice something that there's not a lot of reroll mechanics in this list unless you're taking Angron. The reroll to 1 is nice, having that lieutenant buff around there. And you know what? He can fit in a rhino with all your bros.
Yep.
So that's a good idea as well. So I think he's very much more playable than he has ever been. And I will definitely play with him a few times. So, yeah, man, I think you bring him and have fun.
Do you think? Here's a question I have for you guys, and tell me how you feel about this.
Okay.
His buff arm is his left arm.
You think
Do you
he's
think
left-handed?
Karn is just really into the stranger? Do you think that's like kind of his like?
How did I know?
Korn cares not for where the pleasure comes from.
I think that's the line, right? That's the line.
That's the line.
Yeah.
I think that's the line. They're about pleasure, Korn. I love it.
Seth says that Dickie loves to play with his red butcher.
That's
little
true.
red butcher.
That is also true.
Yep.
We're moving on to what
please.
millennials love. Millennials just call for. It's avocados. In this case, the Lord Avocado, or as Danny correctly calls him, the Lord Invocatus. He is a 2+, 4++, angry dude on top of a juggernaut. Danny, tell us about the Lord Avocado.
Oh, what a stat line! He's got 7 base, so 8 on the charge. Strength 6 attacks at -3 AP that ignore impulse saves. Cool.
As you do.
Good start. 2 damage flat on those as well, which is nice.
Well, as the weapon is called, it's Coward's Bane, and only cowards have invuln saves.
That's right. Only cowards.
Angron and
Only
Karn.
coward.
But sure.
Yep. And this guy who has a 4 impulse save.
Self-hatred, an important part of being a world leader.
That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then he also gets 3 extra attacks from his mount.
Okay.
That are strength user -2 1 damage. So these will all be strength 7 on the charge because he's a world eater.
Yeah.
And then he's got a really interesting aura. His aura, and this is the same as the Lord on Juggernaut, who has very similar rules. He's just not quite as good. The Invocatus has an aura, a 6-inch aura of +2 inches to normal moves and advanced moves.
It's actually 9 inches.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Not in my book.
Yeah.
Oh.
In my book, 9.
In my book, 9. I guess your book is 2 inches shy, brother.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Or maybe our books, we say it looks like 9, but it's actually 6.
Maybe we're inverse.
Now his pregame thing is 9 inches. Is that maybe what you guys are thinking of?
Could be.
Oh, we're talking the aura is 6 inches. Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was looking at his pregame, not his postgame.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, his aura is 6 inches. So really, the reason that you're taking this guy, and he has fly for some reason, which is bizarre. So he's like
skulls, clearly.
moving through terrain. I actually think that's going to make it weird a lot of times with charges. Like people are going to play that wrong all the time. You know how people screw up fly.
Yeah.
his warlord trait is the real reason you take him, in my opinion. This lets you at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, you can select up to 2 World Eaters core units within 9 inches of the warlord. This unit and the selected units can each make a normal move. So this is like, who's going first. You can pick units that are within 6 inches of his aura range, so they're going to get plus 2 inches. So something that's really fast, like let's say regular squad at 8 bound, movement 9 base, there's plus 2 inches of movement, so they're movement 11.
Wow.
They'll get to make an 11-inch pregame move. Note there's no rider on this where you have to be far away from enemy models. You can get right up in Infiltrator's face and move past him if you want. Like the Lord Invocatus can just fly over them if he wants to, because, he's on Juggernaut. And he moves 12 inches too.
Wow.
So he gets to also move 12. So he'll get to move 24 inches in the first turn of the game, because he'll get to move twice. And 2 core units will get to move between 16 inches and 22 inches. So you have a lot of really gross first turn assault potential from this. Just really be aware of this guy, where he is in your opponent's army, what kind of stuff he can affect, what kind of stuff is going to get thrown in your face. Because that's going to be a real feel bad if you haven't played against him and have to deal with that.
Okay, so let me
best unit in the book, in my opinion.
Let me just go back. So you have 2 8-bound units within 6 inches of him, on the line, ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Pre-game move them 11 inches and him.
Yep.
Then you roll for first. You get first turn.
No.
Okay, so you do that before, so you can do the pre-game before you know.
No. You don't do the pregame before you know. You do it after you know who's going first, because it's just in the start of the first turn.
That's better.
It's amazing.
Okay, so you can move if you're in the right aura ranges. You can move 2 units 8 bound 22 inches.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Turn 1.
Turn 1
before turn 1. So essentially,
and him.
Are we going to
also
see?
Gets to move 12.
So we're going to see this guy on the table. Like the slide says, I mean, without question, he's going to be played pre-order him immediately. Are characters like this going to see the return of a really heavy screening or layered screening, Danny? Because this guy is going to get in your face turn 1.
Yes.
I mean, you better screen if you're playing against World Eaters and this guy's in your opponent's army.
Yeah.
He's ignoring invul saves, so he can go after a character that's close to the front line, because he's going to move, like, literally be on your opponent's front line first turn, because he's flying, so he's ignoring all the terrain.
Flying 12 inches.
When he moves.
Yeah.
I mean, he's crazy powerful.
And you can spend the CP on him for the character for the mortal wounds on 6s to wound.
Sure. And he's got a lot of attacks. Like in total, he has 11 attacks.
Wow, man.
So,
He's a beautiful boy.
he's real good. You should definitely get him. The Lord of the Juggernaut is like a choose your own adventure if you chose very poorly. Like you got like the B ending of the Lord Invocatus. Like you chose to like pull the gems out of the eyes of the idol.
So let's
and
say you forget to build Avocado and you build the Juggerlord, so you get Go ahead.
It still gives you the plus, like the Juggerlord still gives you the +2 to movement to World Eaters core units within 6 inches. I guess, say if you were making, for example, the Army of Renown list, you should probably use the World Eaters Lord and the Juggernaut instead of the Avocado, because you can't have his Warlord trait. But I mean, only fools would do that.
Well,
moving away.
But John, right? Like, like he's not bad to take. Like,
No.
I think he's fine also in that list. I think he's worth the extra points because the normal Lord doesn't ignore invul saves on his normal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord Invocatus can be taken. He's got the demon keywords, so you can totally take him in Angron's boys.
Yeah, both do, I think.
Yeah, they both do. They're both amazing.
And it's a savings of 35 points. So if you want to save the points, like that's where you can make some points back. That's more than a spawn.
I feel 35 points to give yourself an ignore invul, and it's just a huge tech piece in there in the list.
Also 2 inches
really good for
movement
35
and fly.
points.
Don't forget that.
Those are both things,
Also added, we don't have a slide for this, but added to the HQ slot for World Eaters is the Master of Executions as a cheap HQ. Danny, what's your take on the Master of Executions being in there?
I think he's a great character, actually, in this book specifically. I quite like him. He has a ton of attacks. Yeah, he doesn't have an invul save, but you kind of want him to die because he gives you extra blood type points because he's worth 2 points because he's a character.
Type.
He has 6-inch heroic intervention already built into his profile, just like normal.
Super good.
And he'll have 7 strength 8 attacks with strike first if you're in range. Oh no, he doesn't get strike first. I'm sorry. My bad. I thought he had that because a lot of the company champions have that if they're within range of the character. He does get to re-roll to wound rolls if he's targeting a character. Okay. And if you roll 6s to hit, he just does 2 mortal wounds instead of normal damage with all 7 of his attacks. So like he's a great little beat stick, I think. And he's a good thing for someone to carry around, like your Talisman of Burning Blood. Yeah, so I really like him. And 65 points is not a bad price for the package you get.
I say it's really good.
Yeah, moving on to our troops, we have what was the oldest kit in the current 40k range, now reborn as assault intercessors with spikes added. It's the Khorne Berserkers. They roll up with chain blades, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. And Danny, tell us, I put it in the slide here, they do the dopest stop killing us dance. What is it that makes the Berserkers so good in this current book?
Well, I think their basic stat line is very good, first of all. 4 base attacks, so 5 on the charge or first round of combat with Khorne, or sorry, with and they have strength 6 because they're world leaders.
Yep.
So that's all really neat. They're only -2 AP because they used to be -3 if you took the icon on them.
Yeah.
Now the icon gives them a benefit to their new rule called Blood Surge. Basically, this is a rule where if you shoot at them, and you target any amount of shooting, you target these guys, they get to basically consolidate D6 inches closer. They must finish as close as possible to the closest enemy unit during that move. They can't end in engagement range of the enemy unit other than the closest enemy unit, but they can end in engagement range, so you can push them up. If they're doing an action, the action fails. But if they have an icon, they complete the action before they go off on their little trip,
so
which is
plant
pretty
that
neat.
flag down.
I'm coming. Wait up.
And you want to take the icon anyway, so you get access to the 3d6 drop the lowest charge strat. I think it's only 5 points.
That's so good.
Their eviscerators are nasty. Like you want to spend the 5 points on that every single time. That's totally worth it. You're looking at 5 strength 9 -4 2 damage attacks. Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
That's so good. Yeah. So good.
But yeah, they're kind of the core of the army. I think you're going to see them a lot. And a 5-man unit size means that they can die and you don't feel too bad about it, or they can still murder stuff because they're still going to have like 26 attacks out of 5 guys.
Now, I did put in here, Danny, Blood Type Generation and the Arc of Omens detachment that we're getting this comp season means that you're probably going to see a lot of little 5-man squads like you were saying there. Is that something you think is going to happen, or we're going to see some big ones?
My first list that I wrote had 7 or 8 units of 5.
So guys, you're probably going to see this on the table. The ability to freely move onto an objective or up towards even into combat, as Danny was saying, is really clutching at 22 points a model. These guys are really cheap, I think, for the utility that they give.
Yeah. Man, the paint job on these is interesting. Why do you think they went for a brown rim? I always like a black rim on my models.
I generally don't rim, so who even knows?
Okay. We know
the setup. I should have said
John's messy rims.
things I'm never going to live down is being compared to some of the world's greatest painters with just the shittiest paint job. Okay. Next up is going to be the bronze prize for best troop unit in a section with only 2 choices. It's the Jackals. Now, these guys, they look amazing. They're Khorne's cultists, but red, and they are little combat monsters. But, Danny, tell us about them.
They're I keep saying this. They're a unit in Warhammer 40,000. Maybe one of the units. They're like 70 points is kind of expensive, I think, for these guys.
Right.
Really? Is that because
what you're getting?
50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you're getting for those extra 2 points of models, you get like 2 extra attacks.
Yeah.
So a point of AP on their basic chain blades. Danny, I struggle to see a great use for them when I could just take berserkers.
Yeah.
But what are some uses that you could think of for jackals here?
They're not core, so you can't use a lot of the cool strats on them either. Honestly, okay, so if you can't afford a berserker unit, this is the way to go. Like, and you've already taken all 3 of your spawn.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is the unit that you take. You can take a bunch of them, which is cool, I guess. But
You can
I
make
probably wouldn't.
20, right? 10 or 20.
Yeah, you can take 20.
Okay.
It's actually slightly. Yeah, no, it's 20. It's 20.
Yeah, because you can have up to 2 dishonored, up to 17 of the jackals, and a pack leader.
Yeah. And they have like some damage 2 weapons that are minus 2 AP, which are okay. And the dishonored, you get up to strength 5. I mean, I guess they're world eaters too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they get all the world eater buff, right?
So they get +1 strength and attack?
I believe.
Or is
they
that
do have
only
OBSEC.
for the Astartes units? Now that I'm thinking about, I'm like, sorry, I'm talking
Very
out.
good. I'm scrolling up here. I'm scrolling up.
I feel like they don't get that, or else they would be actually. Then I'd be like into this.
They don't get what? Sorry, I missed what you said.
The Legion trait just says at the start of the fight phase, if this unit makes a charge move with charge, it gets +1 strength, +1 attack.
I would imagine they get it, right?
No, mere mortals, cultist units that
Yeah.
you cannot include, or so you can include more cultist units than butcher Astartes core units. So you
Yeah.
can't take a whole bunch of them just by themselves. But it does look like they benefit from relentless rage.
Hot dog. Are they OBSEC guys as well? I would imagine they are.
They are troops.
Yes, they are upset.
Yeah, so they would be OBSEC.
There you go, OBSEC. Nice.
So I guess like a unit, Daddy, we were talking earlier about it, but like a unit of 10 on a backfield objective, because you don't really care if these guys aren't getting into combat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean that's the point. Like I'm not running these guys in the middle of the table or anything because they're just like it takes literally nothing to pick up 10 cultists.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, I guess they get a lot of attacks. That's interesting.
Well, especially if you're looking over the table and target priority wise, you have a unit where if you shoot it, it will keep moving closer to you. Or like a unit, if you shoot it, like you can generate more blood type points. But if these guys are just sort of hanging back on an objective, scoring primary for your opponent, then they're going to be pretty high up there, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And interesting. I don't want to derail us too much, but they have an icon option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that
So they do get the 3d6 charge.
Can they get
yeah.
the 3d6 charge? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just it's that only if that's only icon units. So yeah,
Oh, that's,
I don't think it
so,
specifies any other
so
keyword.
they can get there, but you're right. It's an interesting pick.
They also have combat stims. So the Jackal stims, once per battle, your unit selected to fight, you declare you're using your stims. You suffer D3 mortal wounds, but until the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength characteristic of models in that unit. So on the charge, does that make your basic guy's strength 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With 4 attacks each.
They got to
AP.
take D3 mortal wounds to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Here's how I feel about it. I thought about it for a minute.
Yeah.
If you're going to take 20, I think they're okay. 20 of them can do a lot. Can do actually a pretty respectable amount of work, especially with AOC being gone, because they're going to get they're going to get an orc number of attacks. Each guy's getting 4 swings at strength 5, minus 1 AP. That's not bad.
And they can get exploding 6s. They can get feel no pains plus 2 charges. So okay.
All right, I'm back in.
Right.
You're back in.
They're okay. I would give them my okayest thing. They're they're a choice. They're not. I would still rather have berserkers, but I think that jackals are.
Stamp it with an okay.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
Okay.
Next time we're gonna have an animation for a stamp of okayness. Like,
okay.
This next unit though.
Yeah.
8 bound. Not
Much
exalted, but regular 8 bounds. Guys, don't call them mutilators. They probably don't have ears. There's still not a reason to take a Land Raider. But Danny, tell us about 8 bound.
Did you like Possessed?
Yes.
In the Chaos Basement book?
Yes.
Well, what if your Possessed were just better?
Yes.
Would you like them more?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're gonna love 8 bounds.
Yes.
So like we talked about, 7 strength 7 attacks each on these guys at -3, 2 damage.
Couldn't have been 8, eh?
It's what? No, yeah, they couldn't have made it
Could've
8,
been.
man.
No.
No way.
No, that would have been cliche.
That's cheesy, dude. Come on.
Sorry.
8 attacks on one model. Come on. 7. All right, we'll talk. But 8, too many.
That's too many.
Movement 9, strength 6, toughness 5.
So good.
3 wounds. They have a 5-up imbol. The normal guys. They still have a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership.
Nice.
And then they have the blood scent rule, which means they get to count. If they come in from strategic reserves, they count it as being 1 turn earlier than it currently is, so they can get a little bit closer to your opponent's backfield.
Guys, they drop pods.
Turn
40
Come
points
down
a model.
turn 1.
40 points a model.
Worth every beautiful point you're going to spend on them.
Core.
Yeah.
Core. Demon, they have a 3-up, 5-up in Vuln. Unit, an aura of -1 leadership. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yep.
But Blood Scent, Danny, I think really puts this unit like over the top of coolness. Of just being able to come in turn 1 pretty much wherever. If you maximize your blood 8 bound that you're taking, which you should, I think the maximum amount you take comes a little under 1,000 points. So you could technically strategic reserve that entire thing and just turn 1 drop them all down.
It's going to be well under 1,000. It'll only be like 720 points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good. Dude,
So
they're
good.
So good. They're so good.
You are going to see these guys everywhere.
Yep.
They will.
If
Well,
they're not
actually,
sold out.
depending on GW's ability to keep them in stock, you're going to either see these guys or a bunch of possessed, which you're like, yeah, these are my bloodbound.
That's pretty funny. They're amazing.
They're so good.
They are
dude.
super cool. I will say right now, Angron's still pre-orderable. The Juggernaut Lord's still pre-orderable. The 8-bound's still pre-orderable. $60 for 3. If you get that through the frontline link below, that's 15% less, but buy 27, like right
8.
now.
Buy 8 boxes.
Yep.
I have here, what do? Core is king. They are core. They have great synergy with the Lord Avocado, and they are combat blenders.
And we're going to go over some sample lists here at the end and then take some listener questions.
Yeah.
My list definitely features 2 big old fat units of these for this exact reason.
Love it.
Well, let's take a look at the list we have. So what we had is this morning, Dickie, Danny, and myself made 3 different army lists. I, as the person who loves jank the most, chose to do the Disciples of the Red Angel list, which is the one that must include Angron. And this is kind of, what I came up with here. We have Angron and the Lord Avocado as our HQ choices. This is, of course...
I think I lost you, John.
Yeah, I think we lost John.
Lost your audio, John.
He got censored. Big GW didn't like what he was saying.
Sorry, GW.
This list is not jank, and this is a good list instead. I think his mic ran out of juice.
Do you want to go to a next list? Do you want to go to another list?
Yeah, let's talk about my list.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah, talk about Danny's list.
Okay.
Oh,
Am I back?
yeah, you're back.
Hey, quick switch. Woo, yeah, live production. Love it. So my Mimetic Disciples of the Red Angel list, we have Angron. Obviously, he's beautiful. He's baseless, but he's beautiful.
Yep.
We have the Lord Avocado. I have 2 units of 5 8-bound, 1 unit of 6 8-bound, and then 3 units of 3 Exalted 8-bound. I have 2 Forge Fiends with Hades autocannons and a Mauler Fiend with Tendrils for a grand total of 1985. Danny, I believe this list's tactic is punch.
Yep. You do have some shooting though.
Yeah,
You got
what's up with that?
Yeah.
So
what is
the
this?
reason I want to put some shooting in there is because I think, especially after reading this book here, guys, screens are going to be a huge thing for World Eaters. If you don't get rid of those screens, you're going to get bogged down really quickly, and just even if you're held up for 1 turn killing trash, that lets your opponent remove or kind of adjust to kind of take care of what is kind of being slowly killed in front of it. So I took the Hades autocannons as a way to try and get some shots through and kind of really break it up. And I got things to hold my backfield objectives because I want everything in this list going forward. The 2 Forge Fiends can kind of just hang out in back and shoot at the list.
Okay.
That's the idea of it anyway. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of 8-bound here. 8-bound, top notch. Love him. Danny, tell us your list.
Okay.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, I like this. So it's got a lot of OBSEC, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got a good amount of close combat. I like the speed. Obviously, Mauler Fiend's pretty quick.
I like that you said a good amount of close combat. Like, I was like, I mean, it is close combat. It is made of close combat.
Yeah. I meant it was a good amount of obsec.
Yeah.
That's really what I think is good about it, because it can win the mission that way too. It doesn't necessarily have to fight. It can just do like secondaries are definitely a really powerful choice for this army. I like this list. It's actually more well balanced than I thought it was going to be. I think it's not bad, John. I think that's kind of cool.
You thought I'd just take a skull altar and call it good. No, I tried.
What's your big fancy buff for your 8-bound that you would choose? That one unit.
Oh yeah, good call. You gotta do that in army construction, John. Which one would you pick?
Oh, army construction. That sounds like something I would have to look up real quick, because I definitely thought about it and just didn't plug a whole bunch of 8-bound into a list. That would just be a moronic thing to do. I would definitely, actually, for this one here, because it's as much as it's a punch you in the face list, it is a play the mission list. So I would I would take one of the 6-man 8-bound or one of the 3-man exalted 8-bound, and make those worth double objectives secured for going through there. Because a lot of it, especially Angron, when he removes OBSEC from people, I want to kind of be able to kind of pump in and just kind of grab objectives and do sneaky stuff like that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I really want Mauler Fiends to be a thing. Is it? Like, am I the only person?
No. I ran them at LVO 3 years ago. I ran nothing but demon engines. I did not have a good time, but I wish I did. They're just the models are so cool. I love them so much, but sadly not to be.
Fair enough.
Danny, take us through what you describe as your gimmick first turn assault list.
All right, so this list is kind of built with that concept that we talked about with the Lord Invocatus. He's my warlord. I've also got 2 Lord Executioners. One of them has the Talisman of Rage, which puts me at a neat 4 command points to start with, because I can't really buy anything else. Yeah. I've got 1 unit of 5 Berserkers with just an Executioner, and then 4 units of 5 with Icons and Executioners. The unit of 5 is just, I'm just going to have them start on the table, or maybe be in reserve somewhere. I'm not really sure. I could drop the Executioner for an Icon. There's pluses and minuses to that. I feel like these guys are probably going to be kind of holding my backfield. Then I've got 2 units of 6 8-bound. Those go with the Lord Invocatus for that first turn deadly assault. And then I have 3 units of 3 exalted 8-bound. We didn't talk about them a lot. They're basically the same as the regular 8-bound, just they're better. So they only are max 3 in their unit size.
Yeah.
But they are weapon skill 2 up. And they have all of their attacks are like they have just a bunch of like high strength. They're like strength 9 or 10. Good AP because they have chain fists. You can see the stats for them on the Warhammer community article.
Yeah.
But 4-up invul save on them, and no fallback aura within 6 inches on a 4+.
That is so nice.
They're very good. They're a very good package.
Wow.
So I got 3 units of those. 3 times 1 spawn. I think you're going to see this quite a lot because spawns are really great. They can hold backfield objectives. They can hold midfield objectives. You can basically just be aggressive with them. And your opponent has to deal with them. And when they do, great. You spend 21 points to get a blood type point.
Yeah, pretty good, man.
That's exactly.
Do you want to know why I didn't have any spawn in my Angron list?
Because you can't take them.
They do not have the demon keyword.
No.
Correct.
What?
Yeah. I was
on,
just as
MW.
upset.
Oh man.
They're not demons. No, they are perfectly normal boys.
No, they're not. Have you seen the model? They're not normal.
They're
having a rough day is what they're having if they look like that. One guy has a butthole in his head, like right here.
And then 2 rhinos finishes out the list, and that makes it a neat 2,000 points.
Oh, well done.
So this list kind of just honestly, like most world leaders lists, it's going to run up the center of the table. If they screen me, great. If they don't, I've got some plans where I can kill some stuff in their deployment zone on first turn, and then consolidate back into units that are in the mid table that are like attempting to screen. But it's going to be hard to screen everything because keep in mind all these 8-bound and all that stuff, they're all going to be infantry, so they can move through the walls. So it's going to be like kind of hard to screen this stuff, I think, in a lot of ways. The Lord Executioners hang out on midfield objectives. If you get on the objective, you're in heroic intervention range. So that's really good. There really are a lot of really good units in here that are great at combat, and that's what this list is. It's just hyper aggression, ready to just punch you right in your face until you stop moving.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
Last, we have Dickie's list, which she's named Oops, All Berserkers. Dickie, what could this list possibly be?
I don't know. In my head, I wanted this list to work. So, gosh darn it, I'm going with it. It's just Oops, All Zerkers. So, 4 units of 10 Zerkers, fully kitted out with all the hate that they can bring. And then 3 units of 5-man Zerkers. 2 spawn, because spawn are awesome, and then 4 rhinos to. I tried to make a rhino rush list with Zerkers. I don't know what to tell you.
This is cool.
Yeah, I wanted to do Lord Avocado. I think, he's just so good in this list, so I'm bringing him and I'm giving him his warlord trait. I'm gonna obviously have to keep guys out of the rhinos to do that, but it's okay, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then a demon prince with the talisman of rage. Because I want 6s to hit auto wounding, especially with no 8-bound obviously in this list. I'm gonna need some kind of punching up ability, and I think they can do that. So a crisp 1995. I kind of think it's awesome. It's a lot of guys on the ground, a lot of angry gentlemen punching up, and there's a lot of units in there for Blood Tithe. So yeah.
So I got to just do the math to see how many dice you'll need for that turn 1 Zerker charge.
Sounds expensive.
Quite a bit
already.
Yeah, so while John's doing that...
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We'll be here all week.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes,
It's
fun.
it's a lot of dudes, which is always good.
Yeah.
You love to see a lot of dudes.
I love a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just filling
We
metal
know.
boxes.
I don't know. I've been really thinking, like, today with all the releases, I've been stuck on the internet looking at all the reviews. And honestly, I think a mix of Zerkers, 5-mans with rhinos, and just maxed 8-bound with Avocado and maybe another character, maybe the Executioner, and Spawn. I think Spawn are going to get, like, unbelievably popular with this army because they're cheap. They can be places and die for points. I think they're a great little addition for sure. So, yeah, man. I'm so stoked to play this army.
Also, Hellbrutes are going to be a big way. They're cheap little blood tithe generators.
Yeah, you can actually open up transports. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you get shooting. Best case scenario, you get shooting and blood tithe points. I mean, it's just like there's no downside to Hellbrutes in this list either. And again, we're looking for things that you can kind of keep in your backfield because all of the cool stuff, your 8-bound, your berserkers, you want those far forward as possible, kind of doing damage.
Yeah.
So you got to look for these little boys to hold objectives, and if they die, oh wow, I got a blood tithe point.
Yeah. So it goes.
So it goes. Wonderful, Danny. That's the book.
That's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a ton of data sheets in here. It's basically, your Hellbrutes, your a couple of your demon engines, that kind of stuff. You got a Lord of Skulls in here, but the stats on that haven't changed at all. So
yeah,
it's a tight trim. It's a tight trim data sheet book, but man, it's got one objective, and that is to kill you quick.
Yeah. It feels like a first release Codex, right? Like it feels very, you're getting more stuff, guys. Just take this awesome book and run with it, kind of thing. So, yeah.
22 units total in this book. About 14 or 15 are from just a regular Chaos book or kind of moved over. But again, what they did bring in as new is really, really good. Yeah.
It does what it does really, 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 really well. Really, really
It does.
Well. Do we have any questions from chat?
Yeah.
Let's open up to the chat here.
Those questions.
Jumping in. We're scrolling through a book as you type. So if you have questions about the book,
happy to answer them.
Or any of the units, we're happy to answer them for the next 5 or so minutes. but no more, so don't have complicated questions.
Especially not
Yeah,
math.
don't make
'cause
John do math.
If John has to do math, it'll be
the one
for like
thing
an
we
hour.
ask. We just don't have
13
time for
bricks
that.
of World Eater dice. That is what it would take.
Perfect.
Dickie's
Can you
turn
even
one
buy that
charge.
right now? Like, I know I put my order in at Frontline.
You know,
Gaming
you
and they
won't
didn't
know
have
until
it.
you try.
Exactly.
All right.
What do you think? Again, a little bit kind of paraphrasing from chat here, Danny, but the meta game is going to be with this book here, where you're going to have, hey, if you shoot this unit, it's going to move closer to you. If you kill this unit, I'm going to get to do much cooler stuff. Do you think there's going to be like a level of apprehension from players to maybe not interact in ways that they want to because they don't want you buffing your guys?
I think okay, so I think you don't I think that you probably just want to make sure you're shooting in the right order, because they really have, like, you should probably try and shoot with the units that are closest to them first, so that you can try and like potentially wipe them out. So at least you'll get to shoot with that unit at all. You're going to have to make some difficult decisions with the berserkers if you don't feel like you can kill 5 berserkers in one volley, which a lot of small arms fire can't do. Really, it's just not kind of in their ability to do that stuff. So just keep that in mind.
It's a cool little gimmick as well, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think this army is sort of a hard counter to? We like a lot of times when armies come out, they're considered kind of hard counters to existing lists or existing build types. What do you think is going to have a really hard time against World Eaters?
I think that people that are really inexperienced in how the assault phase works, that's going to be what World Eaters really counters. Because if you don't have the ability to screen stuff, I think that you're going to end up with a bunch of really angry dudes in your face really quick. So by that metric, I think elite armies can potentially suffer from this stuff, because they can get ganged up on by like 5 or 6 World Eaters units, and they'll just dice them up. It doesn't really matter what it is. They throw enough attacks where you will die.
Yeah. Someone in chat said T-Suns will struggle. T-Suns notoriously they hate being bum rushed. Blood Angels, World Eaters. So yeah, for sure.
So hopefully they have good demon screens.
Yeah.
Yep. So get your orders in for what's their bird people called?
Bird people. Oh,
They're
Zangors?
Yeah, Zangor. To get your Zangor orders in. And that's kind of a thing for people looking to counter this army or worried that this is going to come headstrong. A lot of people are excited for this army. What are sort of the best counters to World Eaters that we can prepare for?
Shooting.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. Tau terrified me, I think, with this list. I feel I used to play Bile when Bile was a thing, and this I would imagine World Eaters feel similar to that. Maybe not the pregame move, but feel similar. And Tau shooting was oppressive, and I can only imagine this army doesn't want to see a Tau shooting list in front of them.
And Tau are quick enough that they can kind of really get around flanks and see around terrain and things like that, especially like crisis units where they can deal with these guys. Now, that being said, getting anywhere close to these guys is inadvisable.
Yeah.
So it may be a one-way trip.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
The army that went
Top
second.
coaching.
The army that went second also doesn't want to be, because being able to move. So a World Eater player that rolls that hot 6 to go first. Ooh, baby, there's a game.
Right.
For the World Eater player.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he's playing against. Yeah.
I don't care
unless
who
you
are.
unless you have some redeploys or something like that, where you can really kind of take yourself off the line.
Yeah.
If you feel like that's going to be a problem. We did get some couple of questions here. From Disflux, are you guys surprised the rumors were true?
I gotta say, I'm surprised with Angron's point cost. When he first leaked out as being 360 points, I'm like, that's a little cheap for a Primarch.
Yeah.
And although you're locked into a lot of stuff with Angron, I still think that's a little cheap for a Primarch, especially someone who's run Mortarion before, who's like up in the upper 400s, and Magnus is 400 something. 360 seems ridiculously cheap for a Ninja blender, pretty much.
Yeah.
Danny.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Danny.
No, it's fine. What were you going to say?
I really missed the Blood Priest, or like a priest of some sort. When I saw the rumor, I was like, this can't be real. There's no like apostle. Like World Eaters always have apostles. So they're going in a different
Yeah.
direction, obviously. But for me, when I saw the leak, I was like, "There's no way this is real." But get out of
I
here.
feel like
But you
that's maybe
guys-
a version 2.0 thing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of feel like kind of the way the buffs are and the way the units work, like the buff of a priest on top of that would have just made some of these units insane, as opposed to just like really powerful?
I think giving people the chance to use an ability on a unit that also has a chance to itself fail is kind of an interesting mechanic that a lot of people really enjoy. So I was surprised. I don't really think that I don't think it would be too much, especially if they're paying points for it. But then again, I don't know. I don't know what kind of buffs they would try and add onto this. So maybe they're just trying to do, like, maybe simplify it a little bit more than they have in the past.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got, Danny?
8 bound. Can they be in units of 8? And why wouldn't you?
Why would? Yeah.
Good,
Right.
great question. If I
Sixes.
could,
6s. Yeah.
yeah, I would. But they're limited to the unit size 6, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely take a lot more. Can you imagine 28 pound that I get to move before the game starts? 22 inches, like that would be.
There's nothing
worst.
more balanced than 2 squads of 8 pre-game moving 11 inches up the table.
Maybe
Yeah,
feels a bit
beautiful.
strong. Yeah. Maybe.
Perfectly
You
balanced.
love it. You love
Perfectly
to see it.
balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Third edition Rhino Rush
Yeah.
flashback. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's
Like,
exactly what it is,
I mean, perfect.
except less good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Can we touch on the secondaries? I don't know if you guys
Sure.
seen it. I know we didn't. It's in the other book, right? So it's not in this.
For the Arcs
Yeah,
of
it's
Omen.
going to be an Arcs of Omens.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had a few weeks to look at it, and I'm pretty happy with them, to be honest.
They're very good.
Pile of Skulls, for instance, like the ability to turn your blood tithe into victory points, is a super cool, and you get a 2-for-1, right? For every one, you get 2 points. Feels good. So things dying, you get points. Seems like a win to me. What about Blood for the Blood God? Do you guys have that one in front of you? Do you want me to?
Do you mean Blood for the Blood God? That's the one where you kill if you haven't fallen back, 2 victory points for each monster, character, or vehicle that was destroyed by melee attacks made by world leader models. You get 1 victory point for each unit that was destroyed
to maximum.
Yeah. I think that's what you want to do anyway.
Right?
So
I'm not falling
you might
back.
as well score some points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not leaving the place that I want to be.
Yeah.
So
I think the tougher one, or the one that I was maybe a bit worried about, was the Blood God's Due. So that is score 1 victory point if you basically kill a unit on an objective or that was in range of an objective.
Or one of your units died.
Or one of your units died, which it happens. So that was the one I was like, don't know about that one.
Well, again, for that one, if you're leaving just 1 spawn on a backfield objective for holding your primary, yeah, the guy can kill it, but then you get a blood tithe point and also a point for like losing the objective, right? Or am I off base here on this one? Again, it's not in front of me, so.
You get a blood tithe point for that model dying,
and
then you'll get one victory point if a unit died on there. So, and keep in mind this is per player turn, not per battle round. So if your opponent is sweeping you off objectives, which they're going to be trying to do almost certainly, right? You're going to get maybe 1 or 2 points off of that for them killing units on your objectives. And then maybe 2 points on their turn if you sweep them back off objectives, because they're going to want to be on objectives. If they're not getting this, or you're not scoring points on this, then you're probably winning primary.
Yeah.
Right.
So it really forces a lot of choices. So it's a pretty good secondary for that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm back on board. I think you're right. I think Pile of Skulls is probably your auto take. It's in the battle supremacy field as well, and I can't see you getting less than 15 points, like really, on this secondary. It just feels really good. Blood for the Blood God also feels good. You're gonna be not falling back, which is a pretty easy prerequisite, and you're going to be
Yeah.
killing characters and vehicles. Maybe if there's no characters or no vehicles, that's a question. But then you're probably just thinking,
Right. Basically, then it's 1 point for every enemy unit that they kill,
Yeah.
or that they have that you kill in combat,
Yeah.
to a max of 4.
Mhm.
So you just have to be kind of careful about tabulating up how many points you're getting from this every single turn. So you just have to watch it and maybe not kill them as fast as you want to sometimes.
get your
Again,
also,
accounting,
oh, go ahead.
important to be a world eater. So it's important to be a good accountant to be a world
Actually,
eater, like
that's
a
right.
blood
You're
accountant.
kind of right, because you're gonna have to keep track of all those little blood tithe points, get your little red dots that you get from the gaming store, and put them on the table, and then spend them. It's gonna be like Monopoly.
Yeah, you got
Spending's,
you got to balance. You got to use your balance sheet. You got to really make sure both sides are equal. Your debits and your credits add up,
Yeah.
and then you can move
Can't
on.
go into blood debt.
No, don't
Blood
wanna-
debt,
never
real
wanna
bad.
go
You
to
do
blood-
You do not want to go into blood debt.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
the worst.
bad.
The worst. We do have a question. Can you charge after disembarking from a Dreadclaw when it arrives turn 1 in the reinforcement steps? You can
Yeah, sure.
100% charge.
Yeah.
And if you have
And
an
if
icon, you
you're-
can
when you-
100% use a 3d6 to get to that charge. Yeah.
And if you're within 6 inches of a Lord Invocatus, then you can add 2 to that movement.
Sure.
A lot of
Blood tithe
synergies in these
bucks
boys.
with blood money. Yep, that's exactly what this is.
Yep.
Corn is not afraid to break your kneecaps if you don't pay on time. So
No. Chat's asking, does the Codex come with a World Eater themed abacus? No, but our merch store will. It'll just be
We
a
got you,
red
fam.
abacus.
Yeah.
We got you. Don't worry about it.
we got
So I guess in classic Art of War style, boys, but as we roll on out of here, let's add this to the tier list of codices. Where does the Codex World Eaters rank? Is it S tier, A tier, B tier, or shit tier?
Oh, God, I think it's like probably I think it's an A tier codex.
Mhm.
I think it's one of the best assault codexes out there right now.
It's pretty good.
I think that's where the limitation is and what stops it from being an S tier is it does assault very, very well, but there's nothing else to it.
Can we rank it by
good.
going first or second though? Like, is this
Oh,
an
Yeah,
S tier
going
book,
first,
Going
S.
going second? No, you're an A. No.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that might be the
Skull
case.
tier.
Mm,
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
Skull
Love it.
tier. Yeah, I like skull tier. That's a good one.
It's a paper tier.
Paper tier.
Paper tier.
That's a callback.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny, round us out.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Well, thanks for tuning in with us today, guys. We're gonna try and do this more often, i.e., when we have a codex to review.
Yeah.
So
Essentially,
I hope
I
you
think-
enjoyed this. If you liked our content, please check us out every Monday night, 9 p.m. Is 9 p.m. Eastern time? Yeah, that's
10,
right.
10 p.m.
10.
Eastern time.
Sorry, you can come an hour early.
We won't be
but
there.
Hang
at
out.
10 p.m.
It will be
we'll
about an
probably
hour
be
late.
starting, by starting at 10 p.m. I mean around 10 p.m. Depending on the tinkering that goes on. So check us out if you have a chance. Check out our other content on the Frontline Gaming Network. And the show that you should be watching on Mondays, Grim After Dark.
Grim After Dark.
Where we kind of go over the amazing internet posts that we see over the course of a week. Or 2 weeks, or whenever we get to them or see them, and we kind of do some reaction takes on those, and then also, we talk about all kinds of stuff. So check us out every Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and that's John. Dickie is usually there, and sometimes Val too. So come join the party because it will.
The gang's all there.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Can we just go play? Someone wants to play right now? I'll come over.
Yeah. Okay. It's a 10-hour flight, but I'll be right there.
All right, I'll be right there. See you there.
Thanks for tuning in today.
Thanks, guys.